What's up guys, Justin here with the FusionEssentials.com, back with another Autodesk Fusion 360 modeling tutorial for you. So in today's video we're going to continue modeling out our sliding door and hardware inside of Fusion 360. If you remember, yesterday we came in and we started by modeling out our track, as well as starting to model out our wheel that our door is going to hang from, and we're going to continue that in today's video. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. Alright, so I will link to yesterday's video in the notes down below, but we're basically going to continue from this point. If you remember, we've modeled out our spacers and our track, as well as the wheel that's going to go on top of this, and now we need to start modeling out the metal bar that's going to hang down below, that's going to make up the piece that the door is actually going to hang from. So to get started, what we want to do is we want to start roughing out the shape of the bar that's going to hang down. So to do that, we're going to create a sketch. So we're going to click on Create Sketch, and we're just going to click on the face of this object for right now. And so to start off, what we want to do is we want to start by drawing a circle. And so in this situation, this particular metal piece is going to be 1.5 inches wide. So we want our circle to be on the center of this wheel, and we want our diameter to be 1.5 inches. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. And so what that's done is that's created our circle right here. And then from here, what we can do is we can start modeling edges down in order to make up the rest of this object. And so we know that overall, from the top of the wheel down below, or from the top of the wheel to the bottom of this piece, this is going to be 4 5/8 inches plus 8 3/8 inches. So really that's going to be a total of 13 inches from the very top of our wheel. So I'm just going to draw a line from the very top of our wheel down 13 inches. And I'm more using this line as a guide than anything else. But you can see how this is going to be the total length of this object. And so then, because this circle was 1.5 inches wide, we can come in here and we can create a circle. And in this case, we're going to make it a 2-point circle. And we're going to start it based on this point, and we're going to type in a value of 1.5 right here. And so what that does is that gives us a circle that's the same diameter as the circle we drew up above. So now we can come in here and we can find the furthest point, or the point straight across from the center, and we just want to draw a line straight up until we intersect with this object right here. So you can see how we've got an intersection point right here. That gives us exactly what we want. Then we want to do the exact same thing on this other side. So you can see how what that does is that now gives us the actual profile of the metal piece that we want to create. And so now we're going to come in here and we're just going to trim some of these edges, because you don't really need like the leftover circle pieces anymore, or any of these other edges in here. You can see how this kind of like split these based on some of the other things that are in the model. So we're just going to remove those out of here. And so we'll go ahead and we'll call this good for right now. So we're just going to click Finish Sketch. And I'm going to go ahead and erase out this edge. And so what we have is we have a metal piece right here that we can now extrude into 3 dimensions. And so the dimensions they've given us tell us that this piece is going to be 3/8 of an inch thick. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude this out. And I'm just going to select all of these objects. And I'm going to extrude this out by 3/8 of an inch. So now we have our metal piece that's going to be hanging down. And we probably need to take this and we need to move it out just a little bit, because really what this is going to do is this is going to be 1.25 inches out from the center point of our wheel based on the dimension we've been given, and there's going to be a spacer piece in here. So one way to do that would be to create an offset plane. So we're just going to click on Construct. We're going to click on Offset Plane, and we're just going to create a plane that's 1.25 inches from the center of our object. So we can just type in 1 1/4 right here. So then we can take this body that we've created and we can move that out. And one thing you might notice is what we've done here is we've accidentally joined this with our other body, and I wanted this to be a separate body. So I'm just going to go back to where we extruded this. So in that case, that's going to be right here, this object. We're going to right click on it. We're going to click Edit Feature. And so when we click Edit Feature, what that means is we can go back in our timeline and change something that we did. So you can see how we've extruded this out. Well, we just want to change this operation to new body in the past right here. We're going to click OK. And so now, if we move back forward, that is in there as a separate body as opposed to something that's joined in here. So it's nice to be able to actually make that change if we need to. And so now what we want to do is we want to align this face of this metal plate with this plane that we created right here. So to do that, we're going to go to Modify. We're going to use the tool for Align. And so what Align is going to do is that's going to allow us to align this body with this plane. So we're just going to go to Align, Bodies. We're going to select this face right here, and then in the 2, we're going to select this plane. And so what that's going to do is that's going to move this out so that it's now aligned with this object right here. And then we can just click on OK. So now we've got this spaced properly where we don't need to worry about this spacing in here at all. And so now we want to model out our spacer. And so to model out our spacer, we're just going to come in here and we're just going to create a sketch on the back side. I'm not going to get too crazy with modeling this out because I actually haven't given us the dimensions of this piece. So we're just going to kind of take our best guess on this one. So we're just going to come in here and create a sketch, and we're going to align it with the back side of this face. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn body number 7 and number 6 off so that I can see this. And what I want to do is I want to draw a circle based right on the center point of this arc. So we're just going to draw that circle based on this point right here. And what we want to do is we want to draw a circle that's going to be inset just a little bit. And since I'm not really sure what this sizing is going to be, I'm assuming that this piece is going to be maybe 1 1/3 inches. So we're going to call this 1.33 and hit the Enter key. So that's probably pretty good for what we're trying to do here. We want to go ahead and we want to finish this sketch, and we want to extrude that so that it intersects with this other face. So in order to do that, we're going to turn our bodies back on, and we're going to use the extrude tool to extrude this to an object. So in this case, the object that we want to extrude it to is this face right here. So, and again, we don't necessarily want this to join with this object. So what we want to do is we want to click on the button for New Body again. So we're just going to make this a body. We're going to click OK. And then if we wanted to, and I'm going to kind of leave this alone for right now, but there would be a cap on the other side of this. So we could go ahead and extrude a little cap out on the other side as well. Or we could even cut the hole all the way through on the wheel. I'm going to leave it as is for now. We may come back in and add that detail a little bit later. But what I want to do now is I want to start working on the hardware pieces that are going to be on this object right here. And so the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to create another sketch down here on the bottom. And then right in the center, I'm just going to do the same thing where I'm going to draw a circle that's going to be 1.33. And again, I'm taking my best guess because I don't know what this is because it's not really shown in the actual, it's not really sized out for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish this sketch, and we're going to extrude this out just a little bit because basically what we're doing is we're creating kind of a cap. So we're just going to extrude this out, something small, maybe like 1/16 of an inch or something like that. I'm not sure how big the cap would be. We're also going to come in here and fillet this edge. So we're just going to use the fillet tool, and we're just going to fillet this down just a bit to make this look like a little bit more of a cap. So maybe like 0.05 or something like that. We're going to click OK. And so the other thing we want to do is this is going to have a hex head inside of it, so that's going to be the tool that you're going to use to tighten this down. So let's go ahead and let's model that out on the inside of this particular body. So let's just create a sketch, click on this face, and then create a polygon. And in this case, we'll go with a circumscribed polygon, and we're just going to set our center point. And I'm not really sure how big this piece is going to be either, so we're just going to say that this is going to be a 0.1 inch polygon. We'll just click OK, finish our sketch, and we just want to extrude this in on our face. So you don't have to extrude it in too far, so we're just going to do -0.1 for right now, and what that's going to do is that's going to cut an opening inside of this screw, and this is where your hardware would go for you to tighten this down. So what we want to do now is we just want to copy this geometry up. So we're just going to use the move or copy. And we've done the same thing again where we need to go back and make this so that it's its own body rather than a joined piece. So we're going to go back to right here. Right click on this and click Edit Feature. And we're going to set the operation to New Body again. So now this is set as a body that's separate from this body right here. So then we're going to take this and we're just going to use the Move tool and we're going to move this up, or we're going to create a copy of this up. So in this situation, that means we want to select this body. We want to click on Create Copy and we want to do a free move. And when we create this copy, we want to move this 4 inches up because this hardware piece is supposed to be 4 inches up above where we were before. So, and then we're going to go back and we're going to do the same thing with our back hardware piece. And this is something that we probably could have done as a part of this body, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal at the moment. So at the moment, what we want to do is we want to create a new sketch on the back side. And based on this central point for this hardware piece, this is going to have a diameter of 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to type in 3/4 and hit OK. So, and that's going to be the size of the hole that's going to be required in the door as well. So, and then this is going to have a thickness of whatever your door is. So we're going to call it 1 3/4 inches. So we're just going to click Finish Sketch. We're going to extrude this out 1.75 or 1 3/4 inches. Click OK. And again, I think we may have had that set to join and we want it to be New Body. So we'll just right click on this down here, change that to New Body and click OK. And then we need to create the cap that goes on the back side of this. And so the cap's not going to be very big. It's just going to be something that kind of overhangs here. So we're just going to draw a circle. And this is 0.75. We'll say this is going to overhang. Let's say the whole cap is going to be 1 inch. And then we'll finish this sketch. And we're just going to extrude this out by whatever we think the thickness of our cap is going to be. And notice that I selected both of these faces when I did that. And then we'll say that this is going to be a 1/16 of an inch again. Again, we don't want it to be super big, and then we can also come in here and fill it off or chamfer this edge as well. So I'm going to go ahead and fillet this just so it has a little bit of curve on the top of this piece. So maybe like 0.05 or something like that, and we'll click OK. And so now what that's done is that's modeled out our spacer that's going to hang on the back side of this door as well. So, and then that's in here as its own body. And we can just copy that up using the Move tool again by 4 inches. And so now what we have is we have our door piece, or we have our door hardware piece right here that's going to hang down. And we're about ready to start modeling our door. All right, so now I want to model out the little pin that goes under the back side that keeps this from lifting off of this track. So in order to do that, I'm just going to create another sketch on the back side right here. And we're going to look at this and we're going to inference down from the midpoint of this curve right here. We're just going to move our mouse down until we're kind of aligned with the bottom of this point. Then we're just going to draw a line down. It's going to be like 1/8 of an inch. I'm assuming this is going to hang down about 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to create a polygon. We'll call it, no, not a polygon. Then we're going to create a 2-point circle. And from this point to this point, we'll say this is going to be 3/8 of an inch for this piece right here. It's not super big. And then we can go ahead and we can trim out this extra edge and click Finish Sketch. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to extrude this. So we're going to click on our little home button right here, or maybe the right face is probably a better way to do that. We're going to extrude this out until it extends beyond our track piece right here. So in this case, 1 inch is probably about perfect. So we'll do 1 inch here. So we want to create one more sketch to create our face here. So we're just going to click on Create Sketch. We're going to click on this face, and then we'll just draw another circle based on this point right here. So, and then all we're going to do with that one is we're just going to extrude it up just a bit in order to give us kind of the look of a screw hanging off of this face. We'll call it 0.05. I'm going to go back and edit this feature so that it's its own body again. And then we're just going to go in and we're just going to create a circumscribed polygon on the center. For this piece right here. So we're just going to call this 0.1 and hit the enter key. Finish the sketch. And we'll just extrude this in just a bit, maybe like -0.05. To cut an opening in this face. And then the last thing we're going to do in this video is we're just going to use the move tool to move this body up. So we're just going to activate the move tool, go to move object bodies, select this body right here and click create copy. And we're going to move this up, and I think this goes up about 6.25 inches in order to get this centered right here. So that gives us our hardware pieces for the different door hangers and also the way this hooks into this wheel. I think I'm going to go ahead and split this up into another video because this is getting a little bit long again. So in the next video, we'll copy these over and also model out our door. So that's where I'm going to end this video. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought. Was this helpful to you? Do you like this style of video? I just love having that conversation with you guys. If you like this video, please remember to click that like button down below. If you're new around here, remember to click that subscribe button for new Fusion 360 content every week. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.